Thanks, Oscar. I was going to say it's been a great week, but I've only been here like 2 days, so it's been great. So this talk is not really technical as much. It's about telling you about another community that I think is pretty cool and that would be compatible with the JuMP dev community, and also a tool that they have that is also hopefully compatible with JuMP and people's optimization workflows. So yeah, I mean, ultimately it's about how do you create scalable workflows using your software that you have. How do you scale it up? There's lots of answers to that. I mean, we're living in a time of cloud computing, and so we're going to tap into that as well. There's lots of technical solutions, but there's other solutions that may be less technical and might be more accessible to people. So that's what this is about. And I'll talk you through how I got through this process, as well as offer help if anyone's interested in taking me up on sort of developing this process further. I'd also welcome help as well. So Neos. So maybe a show of hands quickly. Who's heard of Neos, or and keep your hand up if you've used Neos for something. Okay, so there's a mix. So I mean, when it was built, I think it's still very useful. It was state of the art when it was built at the time. So it's a portal essentially for submitting jobs to solve optimization problems. And the cool thing about it was that you could access solvers that you might not have access to, or you could try out lots of different solvers. And yeah, it's been a long-standing service to the optimization community. It's pretty cool. So you submit things either through a web form, or there's various third-party interfaces. We have our very own third-party interface, which is developed by Oscar, which is Neos Server. And what's the heart of Neos Server? It's this other technology, also from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, which is where Neos lives, called HTCondor. And that stands for high throughput computing, and I'll try to talk a bit about what is high throughput computing and why it's different to high performance computing. Yeah, and the other cool thing about Neos is that there's over 60 solvers. Some of them are commercial that you wouldn't necessarily be able to easily set up, and that's all set up for you. All right, but what are some of the limitations of Neos? So cool idea. They're just pulled from various FAQs from the Neos site. So you can only have 10, 15 jobs at a time. If you're lucky, you have to have. You can't use the same input format for every solver necessarily. Sometimes you get maximum 3 gigs of RAM, and you run it for 8 hours, and you get a certain number of threads. And there's lots of limitations on what the input files are that you can put in. So cool idea, and the concept is great, but there's obviously limitations that are well-founded for people not abusing the service and being able to have equitable share time. But what if we want a little bit more? What if we want to do Neos, but what's the next little step that we could use? I'll talk about that in a second. So what is high throughput computing? What's the model that it's used? I mean, it's exactly what Neos does. It has lots of small jobs that people submit, and it runs them in parallel, in a sense, by farming them out to their own process on different computers. The original idea of HTC, as it's set up through the center at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, is that you could harvest the cycles of computers that weren't being used. So you have idle computers, and you can use those computers to run jobs, which is a great idea. So it's clearly different to high-performance computing. So you're basically having a low level of compute power, but you have lots of it available to you, rather than having sort of a peak amount of high performance computing that you want to use to. And so the model is different, but I think lots of us, and I would say lots of scientists, actually have the high throughput computing model when they're doing computations. They don't always really need high performance computing. I know you were talking about Los Alamos, and they have a special expertise in supercomputing. I think a lot of scientists aren't necessarily into supercomputers. We're actually just into getting jobs done, and often we have small jobs that we need to get done, that perhaps many of them. And also I think that's fairly compatible with how optimization workflows happen as well. So what's sort of the formula? How does HTCondor actually work? This is what Neos is doing. So you have independent asynchronous jobs that can be farmed out to different machines. You basically have an access point that is where things get submitted, a submit node, and then that access point then farms those out to an appropriate machine, depending on the requirements of the user request, to what are called execution points. And those execution points could be just someone's random machine in some university somewhere that's that may not have very many resources. So there's no real guarantees in this high throughput computing model, but the only guarantee is that at some point you'll have an available computer that can run your job, and it's a very low cost in a sense as well. So yeah, cool idea. Yeah, it's just to give you a sense of there's the picture up there, and how do you actually run this? So they have a whole software ecosystem built around high throughput computing, the model. So for instance, you would here's a typical configuration script that you would give to your access point that would then farm it out for execution. So you provide an executable to it. I mean, for sake of example, this is the sleep function in Unix, but it could be something more sophisticated. You then have arguments. What do you pass it? This could be a file name. It could be the parameter of the experiment, and then you have names of the log output and error files where the standard streams get written to that will then be returned to you at the end. And then you can request resources, request disk, CPUs. And then the last one there is important, queue. So then you put it in the queue, and then you just have to wait. And that can be really quick, or it could be slow. Anyone who's used NEOS, I guess, has experienced this idea. You sort of get an email back eventually that tells you whether your thing has moved in the queue and finished or not. Here's a more sophisticated workflow. So yeah, you can request disk space, for instance. You can configure things about transferring files, and you can configure things around what transfer files you get out on access. All right, but so features of the HTCondor are, I think, like the JuMP community, it's beyond just the software. It's about the people that are involved in it and the support and the whole ecosystem. So yeah, it's a great community. It's got its own formalized center, a center for high throughput computing that's run out of UW-Madison. They have a week, like us, they meet together and they talk about the software and all the applications that people are using, scientists, etc. And they have a summer school, which, I guess, full disclosure, I was competitively accepted, and I went to that a few years ago, and it was a great experience. And we just learned about how the whole ecosystem works. And it taps into a bigger thing, which if you're a US researcher, you have access to what's called the Open Science Pool, or the OSG Consortium. And so this HTC software already exists, and probably people are familiar with it in some sectors of the US university system where they're using exactly this setup. So I guess, yeah, that's just to say that there's already some buy-in to this way of working, and and resources available. So if you're interested in pursuing this line for your own workflows. And this was just posted yesterday. I thought it was funny. It's dairy, so hope you appreciate that, Oscar. This, and UW-Madison is well known for its dairy program as well. So if it's good for the cows, it's good for us, I think, is the method. Yeah. There's like I said, lots of other features and things that are on top of high throughput computing. HTCondor system. There's a whole workflow management system. You can manage complex workflows using directed acyclic graphs, and there's other packages that also do more sophisticated things. Okay, so how do you actually run your own cluster? So this is, I guess, the thing I'd like to talk to you about, sort of what I figured out to a degree, obviously with help from the developers at Google are actively developing this, what's called a cluster toolkit, and so HTC is implemented with the HTCondor package on Google Cloud. So as long as you're willing to pay for Google Cloud resources, you can create your own cluster and start running it. So there's a tutorial that tells you how to do this. As anything in life, it's a little more complicated than just following this tutorial. Particularly if you're in an organization like mine where we have very fairly restricted access policies for Google Cloud and any other cloud services. So we have things like we need to have all the resources restricted to the Australian region, and we have sort of various organization policies. So there's a little bit of work to talking with some of the lead developers and various issues and things that were answered, and they've consistently updated the package over time to be able to accommodate a lot of these more restrictive policies. And so it's a really good place now, and that's why I guess I'm sharing it with you, that it's in a sense ready to go, including for people who are in organizations where things are locked down. So, okay, so what can you do? I think it's a good way of sort of thinking through, do you need high performance computing? Do you just need do you just need the ability to run lots of small jobs over and over again? I would say that actually there's often instances in optimization when we do need to just run variations on the same problem programmatically, and so this potentially is a good fit for that. We have lots of subproblems, medium-sized instances. Maybe you want to test solvers, so just benchmarking updates and features. Like, I know this is all done on CI and people have workflows set up on this, but sometimes you want something a little more interactive and bespoke. One thing, maybe you like have to do various customizations. You're trying out various problem-specific settings or for your solvers, and you need to run lots of different suites of perhaps different settings you want to try across a matrix of different things to be able to tune in or customize the solver to your particular problem. So I think like the model of high throughput computing is something that can be usefully employed in lots of optimization workflows. All right, so the here what I've got running is on Google Cloud. I've got the access point running, and so from this access point, then I can then execute jobs, essentially using those submission files, those configuration files. So HTCondor has already set up the software suite itself is set up on this node automatically when it's provisioned through Google Cloud. And here we can see that there's two pools, sort of. Actually, I don't know the terminology. Essentially, worker nodes that are available for us, and for instance, here the state is unclaimed, and we can submit jobs to them from this access point directly. So I'll just show you what the submission file looks like. So here, there's various universes. One thing I should mention just briefly is that you can run what's called a universe. You can run container universes, so you can actually transfer the environment as a container to the worker nodes, and then things will run inside the container that you provide. So that's fine-tuned control over your environment on the worker node. And so the executable, you send it a shell script, and then some arguments. In this case, I'm going to send it a Julia file to execute. And then here it will give me some output error and log files from the process, and it will annotate them according to the cluster and process just to distinguish things. And here I can request CPUs, I can request the memory, and here are the files that I want to transfer. Now for the simplicity, I'm actually literally just transferring the Julia tarball directly, unpacking it and running it. So, but there's more sophisticated ways of doing that with images. And so what I'm going to do is queue 2 of these processes, and in a second you'll see what happens. So, so the command here would be condor. Don't confuse with condor. Condor and submit, and then I submit that file that I just talked about, and we'll have a quick look. So if I ask for the status again, well, see it's unclaimed. So then we can watch what's happening on those nodes with some commands. And so this will just sit there and maybe be very boring for a second. There you go, it just changed color. So you can see that it went from idle, which is yellow, to running. So those 2 nodes are now running on those 2 worker nodes. We sit here for a second. It's unpacking Julia and doing a very simple workflow. And in a second, that'll change from run to done, and then it'll return those output files. And then, and that comes back to the access node, and then you can then inspect that, or run other, for instance, shell scripts that would then summarize some of those outputs appropriately. And then, so there we go. One of the worker nodes is finished. The other second one's, so that now they're both done. It's all done. So I can exit this now. And if I have a look, I can see that I've got some new files here, my cow files, and I'll then, for instance, check either the log to see that essentially shows that sort of what's happening from the Condor side, and then the out file will then give me the output of my. Hooray. So that worked. That sent me that. Okay, so and then I have a Julia example, but I don't think I'll go into that because that takes a bit longer. So let's just give you a sense of how this whole thing works. Cool. All right. So final thoughts. So yeah, I believe this is an accessible route, and like to offer help for anyone who'd like to try this out with me and develop this further. And I think it can be good for accessing and scaling up some simple workflows, and could be useful for the JuMP modelers. Yeah, so please reach out to chat, and yeah, happy to answer any questions. So thanks a lot.